Hello, and welcome to Tales from the Backlog. I am Steve Boshear, and I will be your game master for the evening. Let's introduce our players, starting with this one.
Hello, I'm Sarah. I am playing Braid the Whisper.
Hello, I am playing Buck the Cutter.
And what's
Who
your,
are you?
what's
And
your
my
name?
name is Cody.
There we go.
I think.
Yeah.
I'm Jason, and I'm playing Severin the Hound.
All right. And I am playing everyone else. I apologize for the lighting situation. The lights in my ceiling suck, and they go on and off all the time, and I decided to go ahead and leave them off. You know, there's 3 that work and 3 that don't. Anyway.
Not going for that mad scientist flickering light effect.
Well, I mean, it is kind of moody. We are playing
Yeah.
Blades in the Dark, as you can see. We had our first session of this game last week with these characters, in which you were approached by your friends and the followers of the Silent Song. That's what I called them, I think.
The Demmer sisters specifically, I thought.
Well, the Silent Song was your middleman.
Yes, they hooked
yeah.
us up.
They hooked you guys up with a job from the Dimmer sisters. You went and picked up a large package from the Foghounds and brought it through the city to the lair of the Dimmer sisters. It talked to you. It psychically affected you. There were some soulless husks attempting to reach you. The Bluecoats came after you for a little while, but your expert smugglerness managed to result in your escape. And now you are in favor with the Dimmer sisters.
Do we also just want to recap how badass Braid was by focusing on the negative space of ghouls to navigate our escape?
Yeah,
That was insane.
Well, thank you.
It was very good. It was the kind of thing you'd think I would have thought about.
Well, I think everybody had their moment to shine.
Well, it's kind of like the Superman thing, right? Like he
Yes.
can't see through lead, but he can see the lead. Like he knows where to look, right? It's like I can see in every room in that building except that one. I should probably break in there. All right. So, yeah, well done. I guess I should do a couple of announcements as our huge following of fans are aware. I'm going to double check, make sure this is, yeah, okay. As our huge following is aware, we did not have our regular 5th edition game on Friday. Certain members of the group fell ill, and, hey, Cody. Cody's in the chat. I forgot you were also on video. Yeah, so we'll be back with that this week, providing everyone's health holds up. Nobody's too bad off, just migraines, that kind of thing. So everyone's okay, but we just thought it was better not to play on Friday. But if you're not aware, we do have a regular 5th edition game, which we will be doing episode 62 of this week. Yeah.
Woo!
Hey, we have a new chatter.
Hey, Vaquito, welcome. Thanks for
Welcome.
stopping by.
Welcome.
Welcome, Vaquito. So, yeah, 5th edition. It's called Shadows of Arconia. It is the game from which this channel takes its name. And our characters in 62 levels have reached level 10. They're probably very close to level 11. So we'll see that. If you want to see the first episode of this game, it's still on Twitch VOD right now. It will shortly be on YouTube. I'm not caught up on my YouTube uploads, but it will be there. So if you're watching this as I'm speaking, you're on Twitch. And our YouTube link is below the video. Hey, Yeti. Catching up. Well, we appreciate your commitment to our massive amount of content.
Woohoo!
47 is a lot of episodes to watch. You know, playing D&D is always easier than watching other people play, I think. So we appreciate that you guys are interested enough to do that. Anyway, yeah, we are. This is our first Tales from the Backlog game to span more than one episode. So I'm thinking that we'll just do this one and then one more, because Blades in the Dark seems to be a system where continuing to progress as a crew is a crucial part of what the game is. So yeah, that's what we're doing. So we've already done a little bit of a recap. You guys delivered a package for the Dimmer Sisters. It was very mysterious and very scary, but you were smart and did not open it. You guys did your downtime. Severin overindulged and lost access to his favorite clothing vendor. I don't actually remember what Buck did, but I imagine it had to do with alcohol and punching.
No.
What was it? Remind me.
I let myself get possessed for a week.
Yes, that's
just to see
right.
what would happen.
That's right, because you don't know where you came from. You woke up in some
Yeah.
dead bodies. Yeah. Bye, Yeti. And then Braid, of course, spent her time attempting to invent an engine for the boat.
Yes.
Yes.
Before I gave up and went to get drunk.
Yes. You guys, I gave you a 4-tick clock on the boat. You
Yes.
ticked one segment of it.
2 segments, you said.
Oh, because you rolled for 2.
Yes.
Okay. I'm doing this from memory.
No worries.
Cool. So you're pretty close. You're about halfway on the engine. As we rejoin the city of Duskfall, where it is always night, except for when it is dawn or dusk. I very much enjoy this part of the setting, that there is dawn and dusk, but there's no daytime. That's kind of my favorite thing about the world building, is that it doesn't ever get light, but it goes from dark to dim and then back twice a day. So you made some points with the Dimmer Sisters. You earned some grudging respect from the Foghounds. You maintained your solid relationship with the Silent Song, and generally made some progress on becoming a real smuggler crew.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Coming up in the world.
Yeah, it's been a few weeks. You guys have maybe done a few small jobs, nothing that's going to make you a name, but you've managed to maintain your reputation as a crew that can get things done. The heat has died down. The Bluecoats are not specifically hunting you since the incident with the explosion and the weird electroplasmic Molotov cocktail and the
That was awesome.
damaged catwalk. It was awesome, and they all know it's awesome, and that's probably why they're not really coming after you, because they're like, you know what, that was illegal, but it was pretty cool. So life is, I mean, not good, but as good as it gets in Duskfall.
Yes.
When, after a few weeks, Severin is again approached by the Dimmer Sisters directly this time. And I do want to say, I am going to retcon my error from last week when I swapped 2 character names, just for my own sanity going forward. The Dimmer Sisters' servant and general contact with the outside world is Roslyn. And the Foghound's captain is Margette. Yes, everyone scribble that out because I literally read the wrong part of my notes page when I said the captain's name last week. And I'm switching it back now because it's in the book and I don't want to confuse myself. So Roslyn of the Dimmer Sisters comes to Severin and offers you a job. This time, because of your previous good dealings, she's offering you a job that is maybe a little outside your normal wheelhouse. She wants you to transport a person from their manor to the same location where you met the Foghounds last time.
We don't normally transport people. Like, what kind of person are we talking about here?
Well, he won't be much trouble. He doesn't tend to say much or do much.
Is he a zombie?
No, he's not a zombie.
Are we there? I thought this was...
Apparently so.
Okay. Sure.
It's a loose role play.
We'll do it.
You can be there if you want.
Is he, how do I put this, coming willingly with us?
Well, he won't be in shackles and at gunpoint, if that's what you mean.
Is he consenting to? Has he consented to this?
He's not so much a person that consents or refuses to consent to anything. He's more of a person who goes places and does things.
Sounds like he's not consenting.
What is consent?
I don't know.
Perhaps this will put your mind at ease. We do not wield any leverage over him of any sort. We are not compromising his free will.
I lean over and whisper in Severin's ear, "This is worryingly specific and not answering the question."
No one is coercing anyone. We simply wish for this individual to be taken to this location. And it is best if it be handled by people who aren't going to talk to him or ask him questions.
So, because we tell everyone, no people, we're going to double our fee this time.
That sounds good.
Is consort a reasonable role? Is consort or command? No, I'm just gonna say that. I'm not gonna try and roll right now.
Okay. She doesn't look too comfortable with that idea. Remember, last time she paid you 3 coin. So double that would be 6. She's going to try and argue you down to 4.
I don't know. I mean, 5 would help cover expenses better. After that whole everything that happened last time.
We never did find out how certain parties seemed to know the route we were taking and were lying in wait for your package, which we defended at considerable risk to ourselves.
Which also was a person when we said no people. So consider it back pay.
She is shocked that you would suggest that there was a person in the package that you brought. She says, there was no person in that package, I assure you. It was an arcane item.
I lean over to Buck and whisper in his ear, actually, that does make sense.
Well, 5 gold says I don't talk to whatever it is we're moving this time.
Your request is reasonable. 5 it is. And you have, again, my assurances that this is not a prisoner or a slave or anything of that nature.
And I think you have our assurances that we will be happy to transport a person, provided that we do not have to speak to the person or acknowledge their presence in any way. In fact, I think we prefer it that way. Or maybe I'm just speaking for myself.
All right, are you guys taking the job then?
Yes.
I vote yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, again, the detail that needs to be filled in is your route. You're literally reversing what you did last time. You're taking this person from the Dimmer Sisters manor in 6 Towers over to Silkshore.
Yeah.
Did they say who we're meeting? Are we meeting the Foghounds again, or are we just going to the same area?
They actually have not told you that.
Okay.
You're just taking this person over there.
Question. Relatively, has enough time passed where the destruction from my previous bomb still probably a hot zone?
No. I mean, yes, enough time has passed. Sorry,
Okay.
Your question was oddly phrased.
Yeah.
It's not a hot zone anymore. It has been... The catwalk, you are aware, has been repaired. And
No,
Did somebody say
I am enjoying the fact that Jason's cat is on camera and our cat is on the mic. And everyone probably blames him.
Which is weird because she's a talkative cat.
Yeah.
She's a very vocal cat.
So yeah, to answer your question, that walkway that you blew up has been repaired. It was only one support that was damaged. It's not uncommon to have to repair those things in the city. So it's been done. It's been several weeks. Like people, like it's the kind of thing people remember happening, but nothing came of it as far as the rest of the city was concerned. So life went on.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
We wanted to.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna ask if we want to take a different route this time, or do
Yes.
we want to take just the same route and be
I
lazy?
immediately say different route, different route.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't.
keen on a different route as well.
I have no desire to go. It's the heat may be down, but I've no desire to retrace our steps through exactly the same place again where we were extremely noticeable. And plus, with a passenger, I would prefer to be out in open water, just in case he decides to exit the boat abruptly, which I still don't entirely believe he is not going to do.
So
Rather not make
I
that
would like
easier
to
on
pass by the docks at some point on our route.
Well, do you want to just loop around north?
Through the North Hook Channel.
Yeah.
I was thinking something similar, but we can either go north through the main shipping channel, or we can go south through the wider canals that are still not the big Leviathans hunters, but the more what would the equivalent
the
of
Dosk
semi
River?
trucks? Yes.
Okay.
I suppose I'd be fine to go through the north part. We have friends at the docks.
Yes. My gut tells me they will come in handy.
You guys, your barge where you live is at the docks.
Yes.
It is capable of being moved, but you have not said that you've done that, so there
Nope.
it is.
We have left it there, and it would be perhaps good to casually go by in the midst of this if we need to retreat back to a safe place.
All right.
What if we just walked this time?
There.
No? Okay. Let's not do that.
No. I mean,
There's only one way to. It would take longer, and there's only way to get from Crow's Foot to the Silk Shore. There's a single bridge, and that makes me a little nervous to have a choke point, and plenty of time for somebody to notice us walking along. It's very exposed and open. I don't like being out and exposed. Give people time to set up ambush.
Okay, so
I'm saying no.
Okay.
No walking. Unless we have to.
So, Severin, finalize our route for us. Where are we going?
well, okay, Steve, I just want to double check. Are we going to be pinging out of that larger channel on the far east?
Yes, that's where you will be coming out from the tunnels, yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, basically just take that north from Six Towers till we hit the North Hook Channel and just ride the North Hook Channel all the way over to Silk Shore, going around Brightstone, going around the docks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it seems simple.
Yeah.
I mean, probably won't. I don't know if we're really going to be up for like being too far from shore, but it seems like a simple and easy path to take.
Doesn't it, though?
Yes.
All right.
Plan elegant in its simplicity. Surely nothing can go wrong.
Truly, nothing can go wrong. You guys don't know the middleman, I assume?
That's literally the name of the show that line is from.
She's quoting a show called The Middleman.
Sheer elegance in its simplicity is the line from The Middleman.
It is a comedic sort of sci-fi superhero spy show. Mm-hmm. And there is a gag in there about how you know you're the villain if you catch yourself saying of your plan, it's sheer elegance in its simplicity. And the guy who points it out, in fact, catches himself saying it later and realizes that he's in the wrong. All right, so who would like to tackle the engagement role here?
I'm gonna go for the engagement role.
Now, can we assist in the engagement role? Because I'm trying to remember, because there's bonuses we can add to the engagement role, right?
I
don't think we did.
There are
last time.
bonuses that can be added, but it's not something you can assist with. This role represents the whole party's engagement already.
Yes.
So I am currently contemplating the route you've taken and whether it gives you any advantages or disadvantages on the roll.
Well, I would argue since we're in good with the dock workers, that should be considered an advantage, that we're heading for territory controlled by people
Friendly
that
territory, okay.
think well of us.
Any other arguments before I set the roll?
Does anybody have a contact that could possibly assist us if we do this?
All right, I'm going to give you a +1.
That gives me an extra die, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Because, as Braid pointed out, you guys are going through friendly territory for a good chunk of this journey. So, yeah, that's worth an extra die.
All right. Oops. Okay. I got a 2 and a 3.
Okay. Well, good, because that makes this a lot more fun.
Hooray! We're failing gracefully.
Well, you're failing. Remains to be seen if it's graceful.
Yes.
It just means things are going to be a little more daring.
More opportunity for excitement.
Well, that is, in fact, your reputation.
Yes, that's right.
Your daringness.
Not.
Haha.
I'm using literally all of those.
Yes.
Come here. I know.
So you guys pick up your passenger
Yes.
underneath the Dimmer Sisters Manor. He comes walking out. He is a very large person. First of all, this has seemed odd to you guys from the beginning because of the fact that they've been referring to the passenger as he, and you all know very well that only women reside in the Dimmer Sisters Manor. In fact, only women are permitted to enter there at all. And yet here comes a man down the stairs, which you assume lead up to the manor. He is, as I said, extremely large, but it is not height. He is tall. He's maybe 6'5", but more than that, he is wide and bulky. His shoulders are almost so wide that you might think they were wide enough for 2 men. He's just ridiculously thick. And he walks in a very plodding, stomping kind of way. And his face, which is very sort of hard and chiseled in its structure, is like he's kind of got an extreme tension to his expression, as though he's trying to hold in some extreme emotion. But he says nothing. And he's wearing a full suit with a vest and a tie and a long coat with a cloak over it and a bowler hat. And clearly these clothes have been made for this person specifically, because you can't dress this man off the rack. But he looks very nice. Everything's pressed. He's dressed better than you guys. He's dressed better than Severin, which is saying something. Yeah, he just comes stomping down the stairs. Not like he's stomping deliberately to make an impression, but almost as though he has to think about every movement of his leg, is the impression that you get. It's like he hasn't quite mastered the walking yet, is almost how he seems. But he comes down, and Rosalind is with him, and she says, "Here is your passenger. As I said, he will not cause you any trouble. Please get in the boat."
Can he run?
What?
Can he run if he needs to?
Well, not
It
on the
looks like
water.
he can't even walk.
You are taking him in a boat, aren't you?
Yes.
One does not typically run on a boat.
Does he know how to swim then?
Our
No.
friend likes to plan for every eventuality.
If he could swim, we wouldn't have hired a boat. If he could run, we wouldn't have hired a boat.
So noted. This way, sir. I say incredibly awkwardly, like
He looks
I
down
once
into the...
saw a fancy servant do this, and I'm trying to imitate the motion.
He plods up to the edge of the stone platform there where your boat is moored, and he looks down and just for several seconds just looks at the boat. And then in the exact same manner with which he came down the stairs, he just plods into the boat 1 foot at a time.
I hold my breath to see if the boat will not sink.
It kind of tilts, and then he goes to the middle, and it straightens out. He sits down on a little bench.
Before he does, I'm going to direct him back. Perhaps you would be more comfortable underneath the canopy.
He turns and looks where you're gesturing.
I have put out like a crate for a normal-sized person to sit on. I have not anticipated a large person.
He gets back up and steps towards the canopy, ducks down, turns around, and sits on the crate, and you all hold your breath as the crate kind of bends out, creaks a little bit. In fact, Braid, you actually see one nail separate, but it holds.
Well, we're off to a wonderful start. Thanks, I say, sort of shyly and awkwardly to Rosalind.
I want to turn to Rosalind and ask, is there anything else we should know about this? Is there anyone who might want... Do you know of anyone who might want to intercept us on this trip?
She appears reticent to answer that question. But what she does offer up is, as smugglers, I'm sure you know how to avoid attracting attention from anyone. I suggest that is what you do today.
All right. That sounds good. Sounds like a plan. I like this plan.
Yes.
This is almost as good as if we were taking our last bit of cargo, putting it into a person's body, and just bringing it back the other way.
Do you think that's what we are doing?
Let's get moving.
She turns quickly and walks up the stairs.
Cool.
I
Speaking
hit
of
both
that,
of you, like, less talking, more action, come on. Talk us out of a job.
She leans back, actually, as you guys are getting into the boat. She leans back into view and says, once again, I remind you, do not try to engage him in conversation, please. It's in everyone's best interest. And then she disappears.
Cool. Yeah, let's push off.
Push
All right.
off.
You guys push off, and you make it.
Also, real quick, have we done our loadouts yet?
Oh, please do that.
Thank you.
I'm taking light.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sticking to normal.
I'll stick to normal as well.
Okay. So you guys are not going to be drawing attention for your loadouts. So you guys exit the underground canals out into the wider canals just east of Six Towers, sort of main route there. And you start heading north. Yes.
As soon as we're clear of the Dimmer Sisters Tower, I want to take the opportunity to sort of subtly, out of the corner of my eye, study our passenger for any clue as to who he might be.
Okay. You are studying him. Where's my little thing? This is going to be controlled, because you're doing this while you're still in the tunnels, but just clear of their area. So there's not really anything stopping you. So this is going to be a controlled roll. And as far as effect, it's going to be limited, because you're literally just staring at a person and trying to know things about him. So
fair.
Controlled limited is what we're doing.
That's a 4 and a 5. So 5.
All right. You stare at this man for a long time as he sits there doing that thing with his face, as though he has some sort of boundless rage or disgust or need to vomit or something. And he's trying to, like, battle them all at the same time. And you start to realize there's something a little off about his skin. It is not, for one thing, he's not sweating despite the copious amount of clothing he's wearing. There's also none of the moisture in the air from these tunnels is collecting on his skin. It looks too dry compared to your own skin and the skin of your comrades. If you didn't know any better, you'd say that it wasn't skin at all, but something that might pass for it most of the time. And he does notice you looking. After a minute or two, he turns his face towards you for just a second, and he sees you there. It's that thing where you make eye contact and then you look away, but he doesn't. And then after, like too long, like several seconds, he points his eyes back towards the front.
Interesting. Okay.
I would like to also gather information.
Okay.
How can I hurt this person in front of... If the cargo were to do something, how can I hurt them?
Okay. Yeah, give me a roll for that. What would you like to roll?
I guess study or hunt. That doesn't matter. It's both. It's either way. It's take 2. It's disadvantage. 2 dice. Take the lowest.
I will offer you a devil's bargain on this.
For what? Just 1 dice?
For 1 dice, yes.
And then
the devil's bargain would be, in addition to simply studying him as Braid did, you could take the risk of touching him. In whatever manner you choose, either just walk the hell up and start poking him, or accidentally brush against him, pat him on the back. You could choose to touch him in order to further your examination of how to hurt him. The trade-off, of course, would be that he might know what you're doing, and he would definitely know that you're touching him. You've been asked to leave him alone, so...
I've been asked not to talk to him.
You've been asked not to talk to him, but... So you were not told not to touch him. But of course, the clear implication was leave the guy alone, even though that wasn't explicitly stated. So that's the bargain being offered. You can get an extra dice for touching him.
I need to know my level of effect before I decline or accept the bargain.
Okay. Accepting the bargain will raise it from... It's so hard to read my thing here. Printed white on black. Accepting the bargain will raise your effect from limited to standard.
Yeah, why the heck not?
Your position is going to be risky either way.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna drag a crate across. Well, not really across the boat, just in front of him. Sit down and stare at him in the eyes, and start to like go towards his face. Sorry, I gotta go to the camera.
Yeah. Okay. So he is. He sits straight ahead and ignores you until the point where you are sitting. Oh, what's the roll? Tell me the roll.
1.
It's a 1.
No.
Did you roll double ones?
No, I rolled 1 dice because I have 0 skill, so it's
Oh
roll
yeah.
2 dice, take
Okay.
the lowest,
I
and you bump me up to 1 dice raw.
Yeah. So you got a 1. He ignores you, as I said, until the point where you actually sit on the crate. The process of dragging the crate up to him, he ignores. It's just things people do on boats. Maybe he doesn't know. But when you sit down and look him in the eye, he locks eyes with you, and you raise your finger and start to go towards his face. Which, awesome, by the way. And when you get to just a few inches away, like about here, his hand just goes up and grabs your finger.
Like quickly or like slowly?
Not too quickly. If you want to pull your hand away, you can.
I definitely let him catch me. I just wanted to see how fast this man potentially was also.
You do or do not let him catch you?
I do let him catch me.
Okay. So he's now holding your hand and looking you straight in the eye. And you feel that his grip is like stupidly strong. It's like your finger is in a vice. And he's not even, like, his knuckles aren't even popping. Like, he's not even squeezing that hard. But, like, just the feeling of his hand against yours is not like it's a hand. It feels like you're literally caught in some kind of machinery.
Yeah.
That just happens to have some padding over it. And he, as he looks in your eyes, you hear in your head this intense, droning, buzzing sound, in the background of which is a very distressing, barely audible cacophony of human screaming.
That's alarming. I sit there with my fingers stuck. I look at Braden and said, "I'm gonna be here a while." and I just don't do anything else. I'm just stuck like this.
Yep.
Mike.
So yes, your complication is that you are stuck.
All stage whisper. Try to remember exactly how it feels. I'm gonna ask you questions later.
What did you say?
I stage whisper. Try to remember how it feels. I want to ask you some questions later.
After you say that, you notice that it is still holding Buck's finger, and it is now looking at you.
And I go and busy myself and just casually walk past everyone. I'm like, Buck is stuck. And just keep going to the other end of the boat. And just leave you to deal with that one.
I'm gonna call back, Buck. Can you stop messing with the cargo? Please help me with the barge.
No, I can't move, boss. That's not happening.
Have you tried?
No, that would involve messing with the cargo, and I'm not about to talk to this man. I'm saying this like
I actually
just, like,
look
he's right
back
in
at
front of
this
me, right?
point and say, just pull your hand away.
I think I'm gonna lose my finger.
Do you want to try?
No, I don't want to lose my finger.
I mean, he's right. You haven't tried. You're capable of stopping if it feels like you're going to pull your finger off, right?
I'll try to resist. I'll do as I'm told, I guess.
All right. There is resistance. You're pulling your finger out of something very tight, but you are able to pull it out without harm. And
No.
once you do, and clearly move to back away, the hand goes down.
So
Yeah.
that all said, how does this canal look for us? Water, but what's the what's our traffic at the edge of the city looking like?
Okay, that is what I was gonna say before all the let's examine the cargo stuff happened. Which, hey, it's your cargo.
Well, we're
Do
here
what
to
you want. Yeah, so you guys are. All of that began when you were still in the tunnels.
Yeah.
So you guys are now out into the broader canal and heading north. No further incidents take place. All the way north to the larger channel there.
The North Hook Channel?
Yeah. You make it to basically the corner where the unlabeled channel that you went north in meets the North Hook Channel. You make it to that corner before Severin, you notice from your place driving the boat an individual that you have spotted several times throughout your journey seems to be keeping pace with you on land. He is in a horse-drawn carriage. He's the driver of it. Sorry, he's not a passenger. He's the driver of it, and looking closely, you see that he actually has no passengers and has had no passenger this whole time. But wherever a road comes within sight of the canal, he has been there, heading north alongside you, not looking at you.
Do I recognize this gentleman at all? Does he have any distinguishing features?
No.
Or-
No, he does not. He's dressed very nondescript. You're far enough away that even if you did know him, you might have trouble recognizing him. But for the fact that he's driving a cart, and you've seen the cart over and over, and it's obviously the same person. Carriage. It's a carriage.
It could be a cart.
It is a carriage, though. I said carriage before.
Okay.
I suppose a carriage can be defined as a cart, but people probably wouldn't
No.
like it. People who
I can-
ride in carriages wouldn't like that.
Yeah. Okay, well,
I may have something, because you're the one who's seen this, but I would point out that I actually do have a level in Prowl. If you want to try to avoid this, you can call me over and ask.
frustratingly, I have a level in Prowl, but what I want is a level in Study. You know, like you're good at studying things, right, Braid?
I look up from my notes in my book and push my glasses up my nose and say, yeah, yes.
If I want to pull something out of my items that I haven't marked down as being carried yet, does that cause stress?
No, I don't
that's
think
just
so.
your load.
That's
Yeah,
just your
That's
load.
just
You're
like
just
what
claiming
your
an
items
item.
are made up of.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is now something I'm carrying.
Yeah.
So braid, I'm gonna hand braid my spyglass
All right.
and just not looking, going, and I'm gonna say, so I've seen someone repeatedly. They're following us. And I'm gonna describe to her the carriage and ask, can you get a good look at them while while I am focusing on piloting the barge. So I'm not obviously looking like pulling out my spyglass and go, no, I'm handing it off to you and saying, hey, can you get a look over there?
Yes.
And we'll let you know when it comes by next.
I give you a little salute and take the spyglass and sort of casually lean up against the back of the curtain, or the back of the canvas. So the spyglass, my elbow's on the spyglass, or on the curtain, and the spyglass is just oh so casually right up here, mostly hidden in my hand.
Okay.
You ready for me to go ahead and make my roll?
Yeah. I'm gonna call this risky standard.
Risky standard, okay.
And is she getting any bonus dice from what little assistance I can give her?
Yeah. I don't think so.
Okay.
Because your assistance amounts to, hey, I've seen this guy a lot.
And here's something you can see him with.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. You know what? Yes, I'm gonna allow that. One more dice for having the spyglass.
Okay. All right. So I wait, and when I see him come back around the corner, the carriage that sounds like the one Severin described, I'm going to very casually put my eye down to the glass, and that is a 1, a 3, and a 5. So another 5 for me.
Okay. Studying this person driving this carriage, you get a look at his features. And it's difficult to say on looks alone, but based on his features and his skin tone, you strongly suspect this person is not native to Duskwall. That he is an immigrant or a second-generation immigrant.
Can I tell which nation they seem to be from?
You can take a guess, but I don't remember the names of the other countries, so just...
well, I'm from the
south-ish.
Dagger Isles myself.
It's not important.
And, okay.
The south one. The one that's south.
Severin, are we being followed?
I was trying to find the world map so I could give you an answer, but I couldn't find
Yeah.
it.
I think Scotland is to the north. I don't remember if it's Aruvia, Severos, or Tikaros.
That's really not helping without a map.
Okay.
What'd you say, Jason?
Hold on. The one to the south is Eruvia.
Aruvia.
Yeah, so we'll say he's from there.
So I ask.
He
so
is
are we
definitely ethnically Eruvian, but and there aren't that many of them around, so it's a decent bet that he is from out of town.
Interesting. Does
So,
he strike me as a sailor type, or?
Well, no, he's driving a carriage.
But he's definitely following us.
Yeah, well,
I notice he's like
he's not
whistling
looking
a
at
sea
you.
shanty while he's doing it, or
no, he's not saying or singing anything. He is driving a carriage and not looking at you guys.
Okay.
All you have managed to glean is that he is not from around here.
All right.
I was gonna.
So
No, it's
that being said, As soon as you guys want me to take care of it, just give me the signal, and it'll be taken care of.
No, it's taken care of itself right now. Better,
Agreed.
yeah,
We
We're just-
turn, maybe we go a little,
yeah. We got a job. Let's do our job.
yes, no need to pick a fight when we can just, and I gesture at the open channel in front of us. Which
I will say with your 5,
Mhm.
you do notice that this man glances out to the canal for a split second, and then at the next opportunity turns down an alley out of sight.
towards the direction that we're going to go, towards the west.
Well, yes, but that's the only inland direction.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
What if
There he goes. I say. Let's...
do you think he'll
Nope, go ahead.
do you think he'll follow us? What if we just turned around and then double backed and we took a different route?
He was keeping pace with us already. If we turn around, this trip is going to take significantly longer, and we will be passing through much less home territory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's go fast.
Yeah, as long as we're keeping our noses clean right now, we are passing through the Noble District. So I do not want to be if the blue coats are here, they're gonna be here because this is where the money is.
Yes.
All right.
But that said, if we can keep our noses clean enough, it's gonna be on him if he does anything.
Okay. I guess once we exit out into the open water, we have to start rowing because we can't just gondola push.
No, but I mean, I'm assuming we're gonna keep pretty close to the coastline. I mean, this boat isn't super meant for like deep water.
Yes.
Yeah, you
Oh.
are pushing it with poles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Let us carry on.
Okay.
Indeed.
We're turning that corner from Six Towers into Brightstone, or around Brightstone.
Yeah, around Brightstone.
Around Brightstone into the
Into the
North Hook Channel, it
that's
says?
the one. You
Yeah.
guys are there now. As you round that corner, well, that's more or less where you saw the guy. And as after he goes into the alley and you guys continue on your way, you see nothing of interest for a while. Until you guys hugging the shoreline a little bit, as you said you were going to do, you see where there's kind of an indentation into Brightstone, where it's the shoreline of it dips south a little bit, like a spoon shape. Just around the middle of that, your passenger, who is already sitting up, perfectly straight, suddenly moves, leans forward, and then turns his head to the left and looks at the shoreline.
I would like to push a little harder
Yes.
on just like noticing what he's doing and wanting to get him past whatever he's looking at, whatever's calling his attention to.
When you do that, he sits back again under the canopy, out of sight, and seems to redouble whatever effort he is putting into whatever he's doing with his face.
Well, he can just that's fine. He can practice his constipation face the whole.
Yeah. It goes up a notch though. Like at this point, his lips part and you see clenched teeth.
He's got such a resting lich face.
Resting lich
Thank
face.
you for the laugh.
That's good.
Thanks. All right. Okay. Well, over here, all of my skills. This feels like an opportunity to survey the shoreline.
Do that.
So I'm going to slide around and try to follow where his eyes were looking and survey. And I am looking for signs of trouble. I only have
this
one.
is going to be risky.
Okay.
And your effect will be... Well, let's do this. I can offer you a devil's bargain as well.
Okay.
If you want to do this quickly and surreptitiously, it will be a standard effect. If you want to do it obviously, like come out and really study the shoreline and not stop until you see what he's looking at, then you'll get an extra dice and it will be great effect.
Well, that's a tough one because it's Braid's natural inclination to not be obvious versus our group trait of daring.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go for it. I'll take it.
Okay. So take your extra dice.
Got 2. This is survey, not study. So
It would only be 1 otherwise?
Yes.
Okay.
Not great. A 3 and a 4. So
4 it is.
4.
So, however, because you took the deal, there's going to be great effect.
Okay.
Looking where he looks, and taking into account that Severin is now pushing the boat as fast as he can to try and outdistance whatever it is your passengers saw, you see 3 men dressed nearly identically to the way the carriage driver was dressed, standing on the shore and trying to look like they're not watching you, but clearly, as the boat has just sped up, they're trying to keep their eyes on you. Had you continued at your regular pace, they would have been watching very, secretly, but the sudden increase in speed has caused their heads to kind of whip with the boat. And they see them.
I turn and convey this to Severin and Buck. Well, guys, I have good news and I have bad news. The bad news is that we are indeed being watched. They are dressed the same as the gentleman from the carriage. So there seems to be there is definitely somebody after us. But the good news is that they definitely saw me, and that's not really good news, but I didn't want to, overload you guys down.
Yeah.
Are they still watching us?
Yes. If you want to look out and see who she's talking about.
I'm asking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Severin's asking, are they still watching us?
I think about it, and I turn and look over my shoulder. Yes. Yep. Yeah, looking right at us. And when they see me look back, are they taking any action? Are they still just standing and watching? Are they, starting to run? Are they drawing weapons?
Well, I was going to say, you can tell... just a little bit more information I was going to give you. You can tell immediately that at least 2 of them are Eruvian, like the first guy. The third one, you're not sure, but it is one of those first 2 that turns and runs out of sight back into the city when he sees you seeing them. And the other 2 stop trying to hide that they're following you. They are now walking briskly, not quite running because they don't want to draw the attention of the other people around the shore. But they have stopped trying to do this secretly. They are definitely chasing you now.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. They're still there. They're chasing us, and one of them just ran for presumably reinforcements. So yeah.
Okay. Are we just about to the docks?
We're
With
only
that little
halfway
segment?
through
We're
Brightstone.
only halfway through.
Yeah, we're in like the Brightstone docks right now.
Okay.
Cool. I will hold my plots and schemes until we get to the docks.
Okay.
I like that.
Severos. That's the one I was trying to think of. The third guy's from Severos.
Okay.
Severosi, we will call them. So yeah, you guys are definitely being chased, but other than keeping pace with you, or trying to on foot, which is not going to work out super well for them, they've not taken any action yet.
Look, do we keep going along the shore here and wait for whatever's going to happen, or do we push out into deeper water?
No, I think we're fine.
I would prefer to keep towards the shoreline. I'm significantly more comfortable piloting this barge along the shore and in the less deep areas.
Okay.
You helping?
All right, so you guys more or less outpace them.
Okay.
By the time you reach that big bridge to White Crown.
So that being said, I would like to flashback.
Okay.
We moved our base under the bridge to hide, and we're gonna do a Hollywood-esque car transfer.
Yeah.
And we're gonna replace it with a mannequin, and I will be left alone in the boat to reconvene at a later point.
Okay, clarify this for me. You're going to move your passenger to your barge that you live on?
Yeah, our
And-
base, and we're just,
Buck and a mannequin are going to stay on the boat you started on?
yeah. Is that as long as that sounds sound to everyone else?
You know what? I fucking love this plan.
Same.
This
And
plan.
yeah, you definitely would have gone and gotten a mannequin after your initial meeting with the Dimmer sisters, finding out that you had a passenger. Makes perfect sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
How many stress do I take for that?
You're going to take
Little.
2 stress.
Yeah.
And you also just avoided what would have been a real serious additional complication. But
You know, I had something prepared for that too, and I really wish I went with that, but this is probably better.
by moving your layer, you have avoided something else that might have happened.
Oh.
There it is. All right, bye guys.
All right, Buck. When you guys go under that bridge, just where at this predetermined point that you guys picked earlier, where it's just this perfect blind spot. The only way someone could see you would be if they were in White Crown. But from here, from the South Shore, there's no way. And even from White Crown, they'd have to be using a telescope. So, yeah, you quickly as you can, transfer your passenger, who moves slowly but not stupid slow, onto your layer barge. Severin and Braid, you jump on with him.
Nice.
And toss Buck this mannequin that weighs nothing and is, if only you'd known how big your passenger would be. But it's a mannequin and it's dressed up reasonably similarly. And you set it on the crate, which clearly Braid put the crate there because it was mannequin sized. And and Buck takes over, pushing the boat out the other side of the bridge.
Yeah.
So
And I'm gonna stare at them. Yeah.
Yeah, Buck, when you come out the other side of the bridge, You guys, you've already kind of lost sight of them by the time you go under the bridge, so you're not staring at them anymore. You don't know where they are. But I will say, Buck, by the time you get to the docks district, that you see your old friend Havid, who is the second in command to Ulf Ironborn.
Oh, so not actually my friend.
No, friend, in quotes, Havid, arguing with some dock workers, standing on the dock with two guys that you don't know but look like they're with him. He's standing on the dock right by where your barge was yesterday, arguing with the dock workers who are there, who are not telling him anything.
I'd like to make the situation worse with a flashback.
Yeah, do that.
Okay, so Marlene, my good pugilist friend.
Yeah, I remember her.
We regularly go to this bar. There's a bar in this area, and every once in a while, we spike all the alcohol with this Rage Essence vial, causing a melee. And that happened, I think, yesterday.
Yeah, like last night.
Recalls.
Yeah. It's hard to remember clearly, but it was like last night.
Yeah, so I'm thinking these guys are pretty rage fueled and are looking to start a fight.
Yeah, in fact, they do start a fight. Havid himself throws a punch at one of the dockers. Unfortunately for them, there's only 3 of these guys, and there's about 150 dockers. So they get curb stomped right there. Yeah, you guys have definitely made things worse.
How much stress I take for that flashback?
You're gonna take 1 stress for that flashback.
Okay, I also used my Rage Essence vial already for this mission.
Yeah, but it's been weeks. We can say you had another one. Yeah.
Oh, I used that one for this. So I marked it off as part of my load for this mission.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so the other 2 of you, Severin and Braid.
Yep.
Where have you told your friend to go on your barge? I know we don't have like an official map of it, but where do you think he'd be?
I wanted to say, I would like to say, sir, I don't want to talk to you any more than you want me to. Please just enter through the doors there. There's a kitchenette area. Just sit down.
He looks at you with eyes that are like too wide, like the eyes of a person who's about to start a fight. And then he does what you say.
Thank you very much.
I close the door behind him and leave us 2 out on the deck.
Okay.
Okay.
You guys at this point are still under the bridge. You haven't moved the barge yet.
Did we plan for a secondary route for the barge?
We can append that to Buck's flashback if you want to have a secondary route.
Well, I'm thinking if we did this here, we might want to just cut south and then west.
Yes, I agree.
Around the docks.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Buck can take the direct route, and we'll cut through the other way. Agreed.
Quick question: if you go directly between the docks and Crow's Foot, that is the same route that you took last time. So, and you mentioned you wanted to avoid the route you took last time. So, did you mean to go through that channel again, or did you want to go all the way south and around?
I'm
fine with.
What if I'm
fine with doing it because it's a different boat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would like to make this trip as quick as possible.
Yes.
Okay. And yes, this barge is going to be slower than your regular boat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd rather just cut between the docks and Crow's Foot if Braid doesn't mind.
Let's do it. It's a different boat. I'd rather. I think the trade-off for less time. Who's gonna? I said, who's gonna recognize us? And then I look at Severin and his wild outfit.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
yep. Well, this is gonna be great. Let's do it.
Who would recognize us?
All right. Well, you two, with excruciating yet inconspicuous speed, managed to make it all the way back to the exact spot where you picked up your cargo last time. And when you reach this spot, there's nobody there waiting for you. But as soon as the barge stops, before you have a chance to go get him, the door opens and your passenger comes plodding out. Without you saying a word to him, he walks to the edge of the barge, waits for you to put the ramp down, and then stomps up onto the dock. Then he turns to you, reaches into his coat, produces a bag of money, and holds it out.
Take it.
He releases it, but like a beat too late, and you feel that like if he hadn't let go, you weren't getting this pouch. And and then he looks at you, Severin, and he looks at Braid, and then he looks forward, and he goes, "Thank you." And it echoes in your brains, and you realize it is the same voice that was commanding you to release him on your last journey. It comes out of his mouth, but you hear it in your brain. Yes, look at your shocked face. I understand. Yes.
Braid is tremendously cranky because this means that Buck was right and he thought of it before she did.
Well, Severin and Braid, you have managed to deliver your passenger without any further complications. However, Buck,
No.
you come around the edge of the docks and start heading down Crow's Foot. Down towards Crow's Foot as planned. When another boat cuts you off. It stops right in front of you, and several men, dressed exactly the same as the men that you saw before, come onto the boat, and they produce from under their long robes these sort of weapons that are about as long as a rifle, but are clearly some sort of bizarre electroplasmic firearm. They're glowing. There's crackling energy coming off as they charge them up with these like levers, and then they point them into the canopy where your passenger was. And one of them yells back, "Oi, it's a mannequin!" And they turn to you and they begin questioning you about what happened to your passenger, what happened to the other crew.
Oh. So, when they... Alright, this is what I would like to do. The second they do that, I want to hop off my boat, like, semi-abandoning it,
Okay.
and I want to produce a large sledgehammer. They're in, like, a regular, like, rowboat, like a small boat, right?
They're in a boat about the size of your own.
So, is our boat made out of wood?
Yes.
Okay, I produce a huge sledgehammer, and I would like to throw it at the hull of their boat to wreck it.
Okay, are you doing this before you jump off your boat?
No, because it doesn't really. No, I don't think that would work.
I'm just confused. You're jumping into the water?
Well, can I? Am I close enough to the side, like to the sidewalk? I guess to get on the sidewalk.
No, you haven't had
okay.
enough warning to pull to the side and do that.
Okay.
You wouldn't be there just anyway because you're traveling right now.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna produce it as a scary weapon then, or tool.
Yeah, but remember, as I said, they came in front of you. The
Yeah.
canopy that you have your mannequin passenger under is at the back of your boat. So you could throw your sledgehammer from the bow of your own boat into their boat. Because they've literally just pulled ahead of you to block you.
Yeah, let's do that, and we'll see how that goes first. Because that's what I originally wanted to do.
Okay, what do you want to roll?
I want to wreck.
I thought so.
I'm gonna wreck it.
And I'm going to push myself for an extra dice.
Okay.
Oh, I'm at 3. Okay. So that's 2 stress for me.
Yeah,
I don't know if you can tell, but I'm really trying to get this trauma trigger.
I understand. So this is going to be risky great.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because if it works, it's gonna sink their boat.
I got 655.
Ah!
You hurl your sledgehammer overhand with both hands like some sort of strongman competition, and it goes end over end for a few yards and then smashes right into the hull of their boat, right at the water line. And they start taking on water. And one of them that has already got on your boat and was yelling about it being a mannequin looks back as 2 more that are on their boat still start scrambling to try and bail out water. What do you do next?
Yeah, I'm gonna shove this guy off my boat, and then I'm gonna dip.
Okay. What are you gonna roll to try and shove him off?
That one is skirmish.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I don't need a weapon. I'm not really trying to kill this guy yet. So that's actually just 3 dice, because 6, 5, 1. Oh, you didn't tell me my conditions. I assumed it was similar.
Yeah, it's gonna be risky standard.
Yeah. Okay.
6, 5, 1.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you are able to shove him off the boat, and not only do you shove him off the boat, you shove him so hard he drops that weapon before he goes over.
So I have this weapon now.
It's in the boat, yeah, and he's not. Yeah. So,
Conceivably, I can.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect.
You've got the
Now I
Ghostbuster
skedaddle.
weapon.
yeah. Okay. They're gonna chase you though. Their boat. It's got a hole in it, but that hole is only the size of a sledgehammer head, and they have enough people to, chase you while one of them deals with the leak.
I pick up the gun.
All right.
go.
I mean, it is. You've never seen it before or any technology like it, but it is designed as a weapon and it has a trigger in the usual place.
Well, Cody really knows this gun probably only affects demons and spirits,
Mm-hmm.
but Buck doesn't know that. I'm not gonna the boat and
Yeah.
be sad.
Well, here's the thing. This gun only affects demons and spirits in a certain way. In much the same way that a proton pack would affect a spirit in one way and everything else in a different way. This gun tears a huge swath through the boat as an energy blast comes sailing out of it. Their boat just flies into pieces everywhere that this beam hits it, and it lights on fire as well. Yeah, their boat is just toast. However, the weapon goes dark after you fire it.
Well, that's a problem for Braid, I guess.
Yes. Bring it to me.
Okay, so Buck, with that, With one of their men in the water and the others on their way into the water, you are able to escape with the discharged electroplasmic rifle.
Yeah, that's pretty daring, don't you say?
That's yeah, daring indeed. You guys have successfully completed this job.
Yay!
Yeah.
5.
Out of curiosity, where will you meet back up, and where will you park the barge next?
That's a good question.
So we can retcon this as like a flashback anywhere. We just need to pick a spot is ultimately what we need to do right now.
Yeah, the score is over, so we are not going to need this to be a flashback. You can just tell me where you decide to put the barge.
My first gut feel is night market. Somewhere along the... somewhere we blend in. There's a little dock all the way down on the southeast side between where the train tracks go over. I say we hide in plain sight out there, because that is what our boat does.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
All right.
It is our... I would like to retcon that is like our default location that we assemble at if we split up.
All right. Fair
Sounds
enough.
good.
Well, that is your first score for the night. It's 10 o'clock, so I'd like to do our break and then move into downtime after we come back.
Yes.
So everyone, we will return in 10 minutes. It's 10 o'clock here in California, so 10:10 we will return, and I'll see you guys then. Welcome back. We've taken our break, had our snacks, done our other things. We are finished with our first score for the evening. And let's get into downtime. We'll start with Buck, who definitely had some interesting adventures tonight.
Well,
Yeah.
Steve,
Yes, sir.
real quick before we get into Buck specifically, we should be doing downtime for the crew
Okay.
as the crew. So we've got so basically our rep goes up by 2, plus 1 rep per. If the target of the score is higher tier, we get 1 rep per tier higher. If they're lower rep than us, which they can't be right now, was this considered higher? Is this considered a higher tier?
Well, the target is really not totally applicable to transporting a person somewhere. But since the job was for the Dimmer sisters, let me look them up. Their tier is 2. I think it's reasonable to say that your target was tier 2.
So we get 4 rep for this?
Yeah.
Okay, we didn't do this last time. So do we get rollover?
No, we did rep last time.
Yeah.
Oh, I just didn't mark it, I guess. So
I have been keeping track.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad you're responsible, Buck.
We
isn't.
had
I
plus
didn't
2
I
to
didn't
rep.
mark it either, but I did rewatch the end of the video. We did do it last time.
Okay.
Now, something important, we got paid. We got paid 5 coin.
Yes.
We have 4 coin in our vault. Our vault only holds 4 coin. So we're going to have to distribute the rest of this amongst ourselves right now.
Can't we buy something right now?
I mean, we can. So we don't have anything to spend it on right now. But we need to put it somewhere.
You could buy an additional vault.
No, we can't, because that is a crew upgrade. Or it's a crew upgrade.
Okay.
Over there under layer.
Eh. I understand that that's a game mechanic, but it doesn't sit well with me that you can't have too much money.
Well, no.
Well,
'cause
the thing we have
we only have
stashes
so much
anyway.
Yeah, I was
space.
going to say we distribute it amongst ourselves as to our
Yeah.
personal stash.
Right. So
So
you have
we could
9
say-
total, 4's in the vault.
We could say just each of us is getting 2 coin. And then we'll have 3 coin in the vault and 2 coin each amongst ourselves.
Okay, sounds good.
Works for me.
Okay.
How did heat go on that? Did we attract any heat?
Yeah, you would have attracted heat at the end there.
Like a lot.
Yeah, you laser blasted a boat out of the water.
I also started like a small riot.
What? When did you do that?
When the dock workers just beat the crap
Oh
out
yeah.
Yeah.
Those
I was gonna
foreigners.
give you 1 heat for the boat thing, but I don't think you get heat for the riot
Oh,
because
okay,
you
that's
weren't
just-
actually there.
Yeah.
You were passing by in a boat. The dockers kicked the shit out of those guys for you. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, they know the dockers know that that's something that what's her name? Marlene does a lot, and I usually am there with her. But
Yeah, but
it's okay.
yeah, you guys weren't
But-
there. So you get 1 heat.
Okay.
1 heat. So we're at 2 heat.
We got to get that number up if we really want to hold our reputation.
For my benefit, because I'm not sure I marked it correctly last week. Jason, what is the rep at now?
We are at 6.
Okay, I did mark it correctly. Cool.
Yes. Do we get additional rep with the Dimmer Sisters or with any other faction?
Yes, you gain +1 with the Dimmer Sisters.
Hmm.
Yeah, my sheet's borked. I got to let you guys do this.
Okay.
And you got +1 last week.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
so we're at +2.
You are now +2 with the Dimmer Sisters.
Sorry, I'm trying to look at what the rep rollover thing does.
The Dockers got -1 with Ulf Ironborn. Fortunately, they took that hit for you.
I'm pretty sure they're not happy about me blowing them up with their own laser. But whatever. Well.
Well, yeah, but you don't know who those guys were.
Yeah, that wasn't Ulf's guys who were chasing us.
That wasn't Ulf's guys.
That's what I thought initially.
Yeah.
This is gonna sound really racist, but I thought all of the people from that country were just elves guys.
No.
Implied.
Well, they're from Scotland.
No, yeah. Ulf
Scotland?
is a Scotland,
Yeah.
which is going to be basically the opposite end of the world from those guys.
From the
Well,
Europeans.
not all those guys were from the same place,
Well,
No.
but they did all look like foreigners to Duskwall.
Interesting.
Well, I think Severin's the only Duskval native amongst us.
nope.
So. No?
I'm
are
you
technically a
Duskwall?
native.
Oh.
I'm from Tykeros.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Buck is the only.
and I look like a monster.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything left for crew post heist that we need to talk about?
Sorry. So we've got entanglements. After the payoff, roll dice equal to your wanted level, and read the results according to your heat.
Well,
So basically, if someone wants to roll a d6, we are at heat. The fuck is that?
2.
2.
You do it, Sarah. I saw
I'll
you.
roll it. And having good luck tonight. Hopefully it continues. That'll be a 1. Not so great.
Yeah.
We've
That's
got
a one.
gang trouble or the usual
Good.
suspects.
Well, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. What was that?
We got gang trouble or the usual suspects.
Yeah, you've got gang trouble.
So gang trouble, one of your gangs or other cohorts causes trouble due to their flaws. Yes, he did. We lose face. We're going to forfeit rep equal to your tier +1.
Okay, I judged a book by its cover on what gang trouble was. What's the other option?
The usual suspects. The Bluecoats grab someone in the periphery of your crew. One player volunteers a friend or vice purveyor as the person most likely to be taken. Make a fortune roll to find out if they resist questioning, or we can pay the Bluecoats off with 1 coin.
Yeah, we're doing that one. Who do they capture, guys?
I feel like Marlene is the obvious one, if not to volunteer. No? Okay.
Based on the events that were described, I have to agree. However, it does say that one of you has to offer up your contact.
Can we offer up Eileen instead, because that's their boss?
Yeah.
She's actually the dock worker.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. So yeah, do your roll, your fortune roll, to see if. Well, let's have Cody do the roll since it's his contact.
Yeah, you've offered up our crew contact for this.
Yeah. What am I, just 1 dice?
Yes.
Yeah.
That didn't land in my tray. It's a 1. It's cocked.
No.
It's a 1. It's cocked.
If it's cocked, re-roll it. If it's legitimately cocked, re-roll it.
Okay, it's still a 2, so all is good. RNG is spoken.
Okay.
Cool.
So, yeah, the Bluecoats, they don't give too much of a crap about the dockers, because the dockers don't tend to, bribe them enough. So they do break some of Eileen's fingers, and eventually she tells them exactly what the fight was about, that Ulf's guys came looking for you to start trouble with you, and the dockers like you guys, and Ulf's dudes were unusually upset for reasons they didn't understand and threw a punch, and the dockers just went off on them. Everything, she basically tells them everything that happened. She didn't know about the bar fight the night before where you spiked the drinks, so the Bluecoats don't get that because Eileen didn't know herself. But yeah, as far as what happened on the docks, she tells them everything. And so now you guys are back on the Bluecoats' radar.
So we're +2 heat? Is that what the ultimate result of that is?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're at 4, yeah?
You're now at 4 heat.
Alright. We're going to be on a rampage soon, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, what did Crew XP land at last session?
Well, it was a little all over the place, and we should probably do our downtime right now.
Yeah, let's do that.
I have 2 marked from Crew XP.
That's what I thought it would be. I didn't mark it. So we'll do today's XP at the end of the session. But let's move into the downtime. So like I said, let's start with Buck.
Yeah.
I would like to start a long-term project.
Okay, what's your project?
I would like to find the Demon Man and ask him questions. So find the Demon Man.
All right. In what manner will you do this?
Well, I'm just gonna ask for around if they've seen a creature larger than a door that looks like he has to take a dump all the time.
You go ahead. I think you're going to need to roll for that. Why don't you tell me what you'd like to roll?
I'm gonna roll consort because at least that's just like a dice.
Okay.
I got a 3.
All right. Yeah. You don't find him. If you're asking around Silkshore, one person that you come across thinks they saw who you mean, but she doesn't really know anything about him or where he went or anything.
Okay.
She saw him after your friends left him here. So you're gonna get. I'm gonna give you a tick. I'm giving you an 8 clock for this.
Okay, cool. That sounds good.
Yeah, I'm giving you 1 tick for that. Anything else on your downtime?
Okay, so that's the first half. I have to do some. Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit of stress management.
Okay.
I'm going to find a drug dealer, probably Roland, and I'm gonna ask him for like some drug that helps me connect to the ghost field. And that's what I want to get high off of.
Okay.
Okay, now I forgot how to determine what I roll for this. It's just 1d6, yeah?
Yeah, it's like a fortune roll, isn't it? I don't. Or an engagement roll.
Wait, are you
Vice?
indulging vice?
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird.
Okay, so you visit. Roll dice equal to your lowest attribute. So not your lowest action value, but the lowest, like insight, prowess, or resolve.
Yeah, so 2, take the lowest.
No, it would be probably 1, 2, maybe. It'd probably be a value of 1 or 2.
Dude, I got 0 in insight. I have no insight skills, so it's
You
2,
have
take
no
the lowest.
insight skills?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I'm here to beat people up.
You take the lowest.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I lose 1 stress, which means I'm definitely hitting trauma next
Score.
Rod.
All right.
Okay.
Braid, what about you?
Oh, I have so many things to do. I'm so excited because not only do I have my cool motor that is so close to done, but Buck has brought me this wonderful object, and I'm imagining you just rolling up and holding it out to me. I'm like, because it is the most fascinating thing I've seen this week.
Okay.
And I have barricaded myself in my room, and I have been working on both long-term projects and doing nothing else. So.
Okay. You are halfway through a 4 o'clock with the engine.
I
I'm
am.
going to make the rifle an 8 o'clock.
That's fair. Much more complicated.
So roll for them, please.
Okie dokie. Sorry, remind me how I.
Take your lowest. Wait, no,
No, that's
that's
Vice,
the other one.
Sorry.
You have to
looking at
choose
that.
an action rating.
Yes. Okay. Well, this is going to be Tinker for both.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably
Yeah.
probably
I'll
gonna be
roll
Tinker.
for the simple motor first. That's a 2, so I fill 1 segment on the motor.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to roll for the rifle, and I am specifically trying to figure out how to reload it and use it.
Okay.
So. That's a 1.
You do not get any
I'm just-
progress on that.
Oh, none?
None.
I get
0
1
ticks. No.
segment. Long-term segments says 1 to 3 is 1 segment.
Consult the book.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was treating it like a regular action roll, but I guess
Nope.
go
Even
ahead.
if it's shitty progress, I still make progress.
Well, you do everything wrong, but at least you won't do that again.
Yes. At least 2 explosions, 1 per project. And like you guys just like there's just a boom and the door of my room kind of bulges and there's like electroplasmic smoke coming out. I'm like, it's okay, I'm okay.
Come in with an axe.
And would you like to indulge a vice?
I don't have time.
You have done both of those projects.
I'm gonna do all the projects and only maintain my stress level. And that is a deliberate choice.
All right, Severin.
Sorry. I am working on a long-term project out of game.
Okay.
Trying to figure out how to do.
So we must be pretty close to advancing tiers, right?
That's what I'm working on.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
It is. I have been juggling around the book, going, okay, is it here? Wait, no, is it here? No, is it here? And I've almost got it. I'm actually going to be pretty simple. I am really just going to train. I've got no stress on me. I've got no real need for I've got no long-term projects I want to do. Yeah, I'm gonna train. And I want to train all in prowess.
Okay.
Both times. Which will give me an advance in prowess.
Very cool.
And I want to... Honestly, I want to advance prowl. Ooh, or, you know what? F it. No, prowl. Prowl is good. Okay. Bazinga.
Okay.
Woohoo!
That's it for my downtime.
That is everyone's downtime.
Yes, it is.
So, during the break, there was talk of spending some time seeking out new contacts and networking to try and gain some more work. How would you like to approach this?
Well, according to our playbooks and our smuggler sheet, we have people that we've heard of but don't know. I mean,
yeah.
We can treat those as inquiries, yellow pages.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's up to the team if they have anything that stands out, I guess.
Can I use my existing ally to make contacts with new people on my playbook list, or?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
That's definitely a way to go.
Yes. Now that I feel like we've really accomplished something and are coming up in the world, I am definitely comfortable approaching Skurlock and being like, hey, look at all this cool stuff I've been up to, and if anybody is looking for capable crew that does not transport people but transports everything else, and technically unbroken record on that, I'm pretty sure, but yes, we're doing good. Doing real good.
Was there a question in there somewhere?
Well,
We're looking for more work.
Ah. Let me see that sheet. So, you're asking this of Skurlock.
Yes, I am.
All right. So he is going to inform you that he has a friend named Quellen who has need of rare and unusual items for her researches.
Lovely.
And anyone who could procure them for her might be in her favor. So he will hook you up with her if you want to seek her out.
I do.
All right. So you meet Quellen. Are you going to take your cohorts with you?
I'm going to say probably not.
All right.
Just to kind of feel out the situation.
Okay. Well, when you find her, she is in a kind of a low rent apartment, but it's decorated really strangely. You know, a lot of things are weird in Duskfall, but she has decorations made out of like woven reeds hanging on the wall, and she has all sorts of strange sigils painted in odd colors.
Mm-hmm.
And when she lets you in, she is not wearing typical clothing. Like, she's just wearing what would normally be undergarments, in Duskwall, undergarments, especially on a lady, are prodigious. So, you know, it would pass for clothing in another
sundress,
setting.
Basically.
What's that?
A sundress.
No, it's poofier than that. I don't know what you call it, but yeah, it's she hasn't finished getting dressed, and it looks like she doesn't plan to. But
how comfortable.
And her hair is in a series of tiny braids.
Hey.
And a ponytail, yeah. And so she recognizes you as a kindred.
Yes.
And she says, I understand you have a crew who procures strange and wondrous items.
Indeed, we do. That is, in fact, our specialty. We are well known for transporting anything that is not a person.
I see. And when you say not a person, what exactly do you mean by a person?
The standard definition?
It's murkier than you might think.
Yes, I am aware.
Well, here's the thing. There are a lot of, shall we say, transport specialists in the city. And literally every one of them that I have spoken to has said that they do not transport people. Who am I to go to if no one transports people? It's not a big person.
That's surprisingly less of a problem than you'd think, big people. But what... and I'm kind of like...
It's not,
what
strictly speaking, a living person.
Oh, now we might be in business.
It's not, strictly speaking, a dead person either.
I know.
What is the... Is it a person who is... How shall we put this? Willingly participating in the transportation process?
Oh, yes. She very much wants to come see me.
Ah, where in the city are we?
We are in...
Night Market. Or
Well, you guys are
you
parked
guys
in
are in
Night
Night
Market.
Market.
This meeting is taking place in Crow's Foot. She wants you to get someone from White Crown and bring it to her.
I will have to consult with my compatriots, as this is a bit more. This is literally the thing that we do not do. So I should.
Well, I should let you know,
Yes.
if you're concerned about consent, she actually would be here already if she were not being held against her will.
I put my pencil down and saw. And I deeply, deeply regret not inviting Severin and Buck along with me. Like, to be clear, we do typically transport people, or not people, transport things that are not people. We don't typically. How exactly is this person who is being held against her will, hypothetically, going to make it to the boat that we may or may not have prepared for transporting a person who is not exactly a person thing?
Hypothetically, someone would have to break her out of the basement of Gloomrot Manor.
That is a. Ooh. And I'm thinking to myself, Severin's going to hate this, and Buck is going to love it.
I know.
That does sound like a challenging but interesting opportunity, but one with considerable risk. May I ask, what did you have in mind to make that worth the risk that this crew would be taking on?
I have been trying to get her here for some time, and I have managed to save up about 4 coin for you, if you are willing to take the job. She is not in a hurry. You may go and talk it over with your comrades.
Okay. I will say awkwardly the right things, and no,
You'll say something like the right things.
I'll say something that I try to say the right things, but sounds like passive-aggressive insults about her decor.
She's a little out of it and lets it all slide.
Yes, when the awkward meet the awkward, and I report back to these fine gentlemen. Well, guys, I have great news. I found a job for us.
Oh. Okay. What do we got?
Well, it's breaking somebody out of Gloomrot Manor and bringing them from down to Crow's Foot for 4 coin.
Smell bad.
So this whole time, Buck is sitting at a table staring at a candle with a green flame, just staring at it. Just totally not here.
Yeah. Severin's kind of putting away his the party planning notes he had been making. Well, we were going to do a job to get more clients, so I was going to throw a party as a job.
Well,
got a job.
we can use one of the coin to pay for the party.
I will point out, you are not required to accept the job. You can
Yes.
say no to it and do the other thing.
You put so much time into it already. And it took me too long to think of what a networking job would be.
What do you have in mind?
Well, I thought we would throw a party and invite, people who the people our people know to
The fog house.
come and schmooze on our boat.
On our boat?
Yes, on our boat. Not on the Dandy Gent, but on our lair boat. Like a house party.
Or we could knock this out real quick. Getting good with do a solid.
Yeah.
My old tutor. Help out his
Where
friend.
does the weird fit in to this job?
Well, I forgot to tell you the best part. She's the passenger. That's not really a passenger. It's since we don't do people. She's not living and she's not dead.
It's easier if they're dead.
Well, she's halfway there. Being not living. She's more dead than when we are.
Well,
but if you don't want to do it, I won't insist. It's not. It's a little not what I was expecting myself when I went there.
this job sounds really hard. I'm gonna be honest with you guys.
What do you know about White Crown and getting into White Crown?
White Crown.
Actually, Can we get a quick blurb about the district so that the audience knows?
Absolutely.
So, White Crown is the sprawling estates of the Lord Governor, Hunter Commander, Master Warden, and Duskfall Academy.
It is the upscale part of the whole city. It is where the city leaders live and people who are good friends and family of theirs.
No, I'm gonna have to say no. I don't want to do this job.
Yeah, I would actually know the academy, but I will not push it because I'm not entirely 100% on this. But
all right.
But yeah.
So are we doing the party then?
I guess.
Is this... You wanted to meet people.
Yeah. I didn't realize that we were trying to meet everyone at once. I thought you were each going to go out and meet your contacts. But I like the party idea. The party can be the job.
I like
it. We just replace coin for rep also at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah, basically.
That's pretty cool. Okay, well, I would like to invite Roland.
All right.
And Nile.
So I don't have all of your character sheets or all of your playbooks in front of me, but let us say that the guests at the party are all of the potential contacts on all of your playbooks.
Okay. Excepting our enemies, I assume. We did not invite
Well,
them.
yes, of
course. Invite Sawtooth.
And the contacts on the crew sheet as well, which would include Roland and Eileen, the dock worker who got her fingers broken for you. It's not your fault.
Look, yeah.
Ish. Not directly.
Yes. It just sort of happened.
It happened because you exist, but you didn't do it.
Yes. And just to close the loop, I do send a very polite thank you for this opportunity, but we are forced to decline at this time. We feel that you would be better served by another crew that perhaps has more specialty in this area, and I may make a couple suggestions and send it and invite her to the party.
You get a note back the next day thanking you for the canary, and it makes no sense, and you're not sure she understood what you said.
Yeah, it was probably better that we didn't take that one.
Yeah, maybe.
I say.
All right, so I will What are the details of this job? This party is going to be your score.
Yeah. Well, like I think I'm sorry, I do not remember your name. I'm terrible with names. But the young gentleman playing Buck had made a comment about rep instead of coin.
Yeah.
And I think that's mostly what we're pushing for here is rep.
I agree. That's Cody, by the way, which it says on his picture if you look at the screen.
If I could read it.
Okay. You did mention that your eyes were
just
going.
Call me Buck. It's
You know, this doesn't feel like my eyes. I think I've just got a really pixelated stream.
That is also possible. It is pretty small.
Yeah.
Regardless of names, the typical path for setting up a score is to choose your approach and the details.
There is a social detail we can pick.
No, that's
What?
Yeah.
That's what you were gonna say?
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm literally that's what kind of inspired this was just let's do something kind of out of our wheelhouse, but we want to meet people, let's be social. And yeah, I'm trying to find better ways of each with a missing detail.
What if we like spun the script a little bit live, and why don't we crash a party on behalf of somebody to plant smuggle an object in, and also use that opportunity to carouse? Does that sound viable?
As far as my position, I can make either one work. It's up to the crew.
I am 100% on board with Buck's idea immediately, because it means that if things go bad, we can leave, and there won't have a boat full of people.
That's true. It also keeps your lair. I mean, your lair's not super secret, but it keeps it out of the front of people's minds.
Okay. So, Buck, whose party are we crashing?
I'm going to roll a d6, and I will tell you. Sarah, the arms dealer.
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
But you don't transport weapons. Wasn't that one of your rules?
Spirit weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we won't know until we ask her at the party.
That could be an opportunity. She probably only knows people who transport weapons, and, you know, we have our niche.
Yeah.
You know, maybe she's looking to expand her business.
Someone brought in the gun that you have.
That's right.
Which means if it wasn't her, then it's a market she can get in on, and we can help her start that merchandise train.
Okay.
Yep.
Not bad.
It's going to be all people who deal in arms at the party, so hopefully we're not going to be stepping on anybody's toes.
Okay, so let's do our engagement roll here.
All right.
I guess...
Well, you do loadouts, then engagement roll?
Yeah, I always forget the loadouts. I've forgotten it every time.
So, light. We're
Yeah.
not looking for trouble. Well, I'm not.
I'll
I
take
say that.
light as
Of
well.
course you're not. You chose light loadout last time, too, and then you threw a sledgehammer.
If you're not carrying anything else, sledgehammer just fits right in.
I'm actually going to take a normal loadout for this.
Okay.
Okay.
Just be part of the shindig. I'm bringing my fancy guns with me.
All
right.
I see.
And Braid?
I'm taking a light loadout. I'm gonna
Okay.
wanna blend in.
So yeah, Severin, the whole time you're there, servants will be suggesting that you hang up your coat or let them take some of your stuff. It won't be so much stuff that it's weird, like super weird, but
Yeah.
it's an amount of stuff that like most people would probably have checked that on the way in.
It's like you won't take off your backpack.
I've got like, basically, I'm taking my playbook specific weapons, like my fancy pistols and my really nice rifle, as essentially conversation pieces.
Okay.
So, Jason,
Yeah.
I don't check any item off until I decide to use it. So you can erase all of that and then only check them off once you start talking about them.
Space for more, but I wanted to have space for more, and these specifically going in is part of my approach. Is going like, well, we're going to someone who's an arms smuggler, so I want to show off that I've got some nice guns.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sounds great.
It makes sense to me. Jason saying it at this point is part of the play. So
Yeah.
um,
I'm here.
cool. So you guys go in, and as I said before when we were planning the other party, it's going to be the same guest list. It's all the people on your sheets,
Nice.
as well as all the people on the crew sheet, which is here if you need it.
Thank
I believe the others have theirs.
Right.
You may, at this point, what I'd like to do is give Buck and Severin each a chance to approach someone from the list. Braid, we're going to say you can do it as well if there's time, but since you already had a big scene with the other character, we will let the guys go first.
Well, do we want to do our engagement roll now?
Yes.
Who wants to do the engagement roll? I hear some facing that they want to.
Okay,
Severin's done it every time, so let's have Buck do it.
I rolled a 5.
Woo!
All right.
Thank you.
You guys are well received as you enter the party. You did not receive an invitation, but when you arrive, it turns out no one received a direct invitation because this is the kind of party where you either know about it or you're not invited. And the fact that you guys knew about it is enough to make you well regarded when you arrive. You have reached a level of social interaction within the underworld of this city that you know about parties that are not advertised. And it also bears mentioning that this being the first time you have done such a thing, you are the new one. You are like the new guys, and that in itself kind of makes you a little bit popular at the party.
Yeah. I imagine like I'm being swarmed because I look crazy. Like I look just super bizarre. And I'm a new face. And I just do not enjoy all these people talking to me.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
So that being said, Jason, do you want to go or Severin, do you want to go first?
Well, I pat you on the shoulder, old boy. This is what meeting new people is. And I basically make a beeline straight for my good friend Valeris, who is today an older gentleman, medium length white beard, some somewhat fancy duds.
Okay.
But I know my friend when I see them. And old boy, how is the party going?
I do not have your playbook in front of me. Can you fill me in on this character a little bit?
Valeris is my frequent meal companion and spy for the reconciled, and they never wear the same body.
Is it a ghost?
But you recognize them easily.
Of course I recognize them. They're my friend.
Okay. And again,
They're a dead
it's
friend.
Valeris.
Valeris.
Okay.
Veleris.
And currently, Valeris is an older gentleman, you said.
Yes.
Severin, how good to see you here.
It's good to be here. What is the word going on?
Well, word is someone has been riding around the canals, blowing things up with electroplasm these past few weeks.
And I'm sad to say that it was not me personally doing that.
I thought that it probably was not. You know, Severin, when I first heard these rumors, the first thing that came to my mind was, I'm sure that it was not Severin personally who did this.
Yes. Yes.
What brings you to the party tonight?
What brings anyone to a party? It's a party. I have dressed in my best clothes. I have my most dashing firearm implements. Do I not look good? I've preened my feathers.
You look fantastic, friend.
Of course I do.
I heard you ran into a little bit of trouble with our favorite clothier.
I owe them quite a bit of money. I hate to say it. I'm loath to admit it, but my grasp outstretched my reach.
Well, Severin, I don't want you to worry about that. I paid a visit over there earlier today, and as a certain windfalls went my way recently, I paid off your debt. You are, I'm sorry to say, still not invited back, but your debt is settled.
That is a load off of my mind.
Well, there is perhaps something you could do for me.
Oh. What do you need?
You see this personage that I am currently residing in. It's not particularly lively. There are others available. I understand some of them were seen jumping into the canal just a few weeks ago. So those obviously are lost. However, it's in my best interest, I think, to spend some time in a body with a little more, shall we say, suppleness to the joints.
A little more vigor?
Yes. As much as I enjoy the wizened, respected look, I also would like to be able to jump up and down now and then. Maybe reach the bathroom on time without worrying about it. That would...
Oh.
Yes.
I'll keep an eye out for you tonight. And going forward.
Yes, well, you can perhaps procure me such a body from Brightstone. You see, I have a contact there who has been rounding up the, shall we say, spiritually deficient in an attempt to herd them out of the city. Hello, 100 Years Boar. Thank you for showing up. In an attempt to herd them out of the city. And we have a long-standing arrangement that that he can sometimes provide me with a new person to be every now and then for a price. Were I to provide you with said price, you deliver it to him and bring back the person that I will be. What say you?
Well, I would need I am not the sole proprietor of our operation, so I would need to run it by my compatriots.
Oh, of course, of course.
That doesn't sound awful.
I understand that you typically do not transport people. However,
We don't transport people, but I mean, are bodies really people?
well, they can still move. But yes, that was the same argument I was about to make. What is a person, anyway? I'm a person now, but when I depart,
You are a person.
will this
Even
fellow still
beginning-
be a person when I leave him?
Yes.
Well. All right. At this point, I'd like to move over to Buck's conversation. We'll see what Buck does, and then perhaps we'll see what score you guys choose to go on to. Looking at the time, just as a warning, it may be that whatever score you choose tonight is what we start with next week.
Yes, I assumed as much
Sounds
at
great.
this point.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
That gives us a little more playtime at the party.
Yes.
So, Buck, who would you like to approach?
So, knowing that, like, I'm surrounded by, like, what, 6, 7 people, and they're all trying to talk to me, and I'm just cold-faced, just responding, yup, nope, mm-hmm, and, like, just responding with, like, grunts. And then as soon as I see Sarah, the host of the party, conceivably,
Yeah.
I take my arms and I just shove everyone aside, and I march over to her, and like just stop in front of her and sees how she greets me, I guess.
So she's talking to, several other people as hosts at parties do. And when she sees you sort of part her guests like the Red Sea and stomp over to her, she turns to you and flashes a disarming smile, or what she clearly hopes is a disarming smile. And she says, "Ah, you sir are with the Tide Wraiths, are you not?"
Yes, I'm happy to hear you got our name correct.
Yes, I was talking earlier with the Wraiths, and they were saying that they had some clients come to them thinking that they were you, and vice versa. I'm glad to hear that it's not causing too much trouble, as you're in different lines of work.
What work do they do?
Well, you'd have to ask them about that, wouldn't you?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure you've heard about the several explosions that have happened in the last couple of weeks.
Oh, yes. I did hear about that.
Yes. Do you move product that does stuff like that?
Do I move product that causes explosions?
Well, what is the goddamn word?
The electroplasm.
Electroplastic explosion.
Plasmic, not plastic.
Yeah.
Although electroplastic sets
Yes.
up a whole other setting that I would dearly like to explore in another game.
Yes.
But
It's this world 100 years in the future.
yeah. So she says, well, like most people involved in any sort of technological endeavors in Duskwall, I deal with electroplasmic items. The very lamps of the room are electroplasmic.
Well, do you have runners?
Am I to understand that you are asking if I need any additional couriers for my products?
Yes. I don't mince words very well. I only have half a brain in my head.
You don't know that.
Are you being are you being literal?
Yes.
How did you discover this?
Someone told me while they were possessing me.
Oh, Interesting. An entity of electroplasm.
Maybe. I'm still figuring this out. They
Well,
took the half with all my memories.
if you're referring to a possessing spirit, they are composed of electroplasm, yes.
So, runners were available tomorrow.
Well, what is a weapon compared to the one who wields it? In my experience, there is no weapon more dangerous than a person.
I would like to stop her at that point. Or not really stop her, but I'm going to bark across the room for Marlene to come over here. My boxer friend.
Okay, Sarah is startled at your sudden bark. And Marlene is not startled. She quickly sort of flows over and barks back, "What's up, Buck?" Hits you on the back.
She is about to go on a tangent about people that hold weapons are more important than the weapons themselves. And I don't know how to handle this.
Well, Buck, she's right.
Oh. What?
Buck, come on. What use does it do to have a gun if you're going to miss?
Well, I don't know how to use a gun. And I just figure that as long as you're big enough, you can use anything imaginable.
Exactly. As long as you are big enough. You see how
Okay.
it's the you that's making the difference? Let me
No.
ask you something, Buck. Who do you think would win? That old man over there with a knife? Or me with these?
Well, I've seen you turn someone into a slab of meat with just your hands before.
Well, people are already slabs of meat. They just need to fall down to remember it.
Well, either way,
Eh.
I hope that she no longer is interested in telling me the story, knowing that I will not get it.
Yeah, Sarah has already kind of moved away and like very, very gracefully departed while you were distracted with Marlene and has started up another conversation with her back to you.
And I creep into that conversation, very not understanding the social, cues. They go, so, what are we moving?
Okay. You're going to need to roll something to see if you get anything out of her.
I don't think skirmish is appropriate, so we'll consort.
Yeah, go ahead and roll consort. This is going to be desperate and I'll say standard.
Okay, well I'm gonna push myself because I really don't know how to talk to people other than these two people.
Correct. Well, Marlene, you do well.
Oh, I just realized I said I pushed myself and then didn't roll my extra dice.
Go ahead.
Okay, I rolled a 5 and a 1.
Nice.
I rolled the 5 first, which is funny.
Okay. She lets out a very aggravated sigh, clearly having accepted that you're not going to leave her the hell alone until she gives you a job. So she says, "What was your name again?"
Buck?
"Buck of the Tide Wraiths. Come with me." And she leads you off to a side room where she says, "Buck, I can perhaps provide the Tide Wraiths with some work. But as you have been so extraordinarily rude tonight, interrupting not one but two of my conversations with my guests and forcing me to leave them alone without their hostess, I have a requirement of you and your crew. You must take whatever job I present you, no questions asked, And if you decline it, things will not go well between us.
I don't usually ask questions, so I don't think that'll matter.
Good. Then I have something for you to transport. Yourself. I wish for you to kill the deputy mayor of Duskwall. Transport yourself to his residence, and then transport yourself away when it's done.
I want to make the joke. I was told we're not allowed to accept people jobs where we transport people. But we'll be back.
Remember what I said, young buck. And then she leaves and returns to her guests. All right, we do have a little bit of time left. So is there anyone that Braid would like to speak with?
Sure. And we can keep this as short as you like.
Yeah.
But Braid is going to immediately wallflower it and drift off to the corner.
Okay.
I've got my hood of my coat turned up over my head, and when I'm reasonably sure nobody's watching, I'm going to sort of slide my spirit mask down over my face. And my spirit mask is an arcane item that allows the trained user to see supernatural energy in great detail.
Okay.
So I haven't gotten a chance to really use it much or at all. So I'm going to just take a quick survey of the party. And just to describe it really quickly, it is a solid black, featureless oval, except for 2 eye holes that just are
also ovals.
Long. Yes, ovals. So it just is, and it's just a little bit smaller.
It's a black version of the Court of Owls mask, right?
I don't know what the Court of Owls mask looks like off the top of my head, I'm afraid.
You read that story.
Well, it looks like it's an oval that's slightly smaller than my face. You can actually see like a circle of skin around it. It's not a domino mask just across my eyes. It's
all right.
over the whole face. And when I survey the room, I do notice that there is a person on the other side of the room who is holding something that there seems to be like a tremendous amount of energy, ectoplasmic energy, located on his hip. And I recognize what it is as a spirit bottle. And he is actually holding a ghost prisoner, and he's walked in with it.
Who is this person?
And this is, I walk over to introduce myself. This is Flint the Spirit Trafficker.
Ah, good old Flint.
Yes, and he is also, I think, hanging to the corners of the room. And I am going to sidle up.
Well, Flint is a man of about 40 years, with dark hair, a pot belly, a big curly mustache, one eye with a patch over the other, and a corn cob pipe held in his teeth like Popeye.
And 2 eyes made out of coal?
No.
Sorry.
Only one eye.
Yes.
The other one may, in fact, be coal. I don't know
knows?
what's behind the patch. So what do you say anything to him as you approach?
I say, Do you regularly show up at parties with merchandise attached?
Well, this kind of party, of course. And do you regularly walk around parties with a spirit mask over your face?
I will go ahead and slide it back. And I say, well, actually, yes, I do that regularly.
Name's Flint.
They call me Braid.
Okay, but what's your name? Just kidding.
That would have totally... I was actually about to tell him my real name, like, ha ha! Yes. I'll shake my hand. Yes, it is a joke because we do not use our real names in the...
Well, I've never seen you at one of these before.
No, I am... Yes, I am one of the Tide Wraiths. We are...
Oh, are you part of the Wraiths?
No, the Tide Wraiths.
You're a separate crew.
That is correct.
Because you're both called the Wraiths.
We are the
But you're the Tide
Wraiths. It's very different.
Yeah, all right.
Yes, yes.
What kind of business you do?
I'm so glad you asked. We transport items of a arcane nature that perhaps require a certain amount of subtlety, and we're smugglers. We're smugglers. We
Oh, wait, I heard of you guys.
Arcane objects. Yeah. Anything that's not people.
I heard you did a couple of jobs, and I heard there was explosions the same day.
Well, I think the important thing to know is that it wasn't our cargo that was exploding.
Well, that definitely works in your favor, doesn't it?
It sure does.
All right. Well, it's Braid, right?
That is correct.
I'm just kidding.
And I just see I have a Braid. Specs was taken. There was too many people named Specs, so I went with Braid.
I don't suppose you need any spirits trafficked.
Well, to be honest, I was coming over to ask you the same thing, if you required any assistance in trafficking your spirits, perhaps from one side of the city to another.
Well, the funny thing about spirits is that as soon as you cram one of them into a body, suddenly it's a person with rights. But when you take it back out, it's just a damn ghost. He takes the bottle off his belt. See this? Took it out of a person not too long ago.
Yep.
Don't worry, it wasn't that body's original ghost. It was one that took it over. It was about to become a vampire, but you got to catch these things just in time. Point is,
Vampires are terrible, and I would never associate with one knowingly.
oh, right. None of us would ever associate with vampires. Right. The point is, we got to get this bottle somewhere quick. Because this particular ghost used to be a person of some importance.
Oh.
But you said just now,
Yeah.
you take jobs taking things from one side of the city to the other.
That is exactly what I said.
Seems
yes.
like anyone can take something from one side of the city to the other. That doesn't sound that hard to me.
Well, when things are exploding around you, it gets very hard.
Yeah, well, maybe if you don't go shooting laser guns at people, that won't happen.
I'm not familiar with any. I'm sure I don't know anything about any laser guns. It's.
Well, the thing is,
I'm trying to learn, but
what I need someone to do that's not so
easy.
easy as all that is I need this taken out of the city.
Interesting.
There's a spot along the northern coast. It's technically the Deadlands, but I always say, if you're not dead, it's the live lands.
You have a point, sir.
If you don't get dead, you got nothing to worry about. Am I right?
That is very true. It's just avoiding that getting dead. That's the trick.
Well, that's why one hires a good smuggling crew. Now, you did say that you keep a low profile, which, let's be honest, that's a lie. But you have a good rep for getting things done regardless. So I'm willing to take a chance on you.
I will say this, sir. You may have heard of us, but you have no idea who our clients are. And I assure you, they are well-known, well-respected people about this city. And when they turn their business over to us, we may be perhaps a little flashy, but our clients' identities are safe and secure with us, as is their cargo.
Yeah, I never even heard of those Dimmer sisters before.
Hey, how did you... Not that I'm saying or denying anything, but...
You're all right, kid. Listen. 4 coin if you get this bottle there in one piece. 6 coin if you get the bottle there, wait for the job on that end to get done, and then bring back a passenger.
What job would that be exactly?
Not your job. Another crew. You just have to wait.
And what passenger exactly? Let me put it like this: Is this a person who is coming freely and of their own will, one might say?
Well, that remains to be seen. You're welcome to ask when you meet the person. I'll tell you this right now. You kind of already met him. Or her. Not sure how things are going to turn out.
I see. Well, I guess that answers my first question, which was, in terms of delivering it in one piece, if we were just supposed to chuck it over the fence, the lightning fence.
No,
like you're looking for something a little more.
It's a good ways off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least one member of my team, I think, is an excellent thrower.
Well, please don't throw the bottle.
We will not throw the bottle.
Okay.
Okay.
Please tell your teammates not to throw the bottle either.
I will make it very clear that there will be no throwing of the
bottle
bottle.
must arrive intact.
Yes, this
All
is
right.
very important. I understand entirely, sir.
I don't know if you've ever thrown a spirit bottle with a spirit in it. They don't tend to like it.
I can't say that I ever have, but now, honestly, there's nothing I want to do more. Not with yours, but it does make for a very interesting... I'm just curious what would happen.
You're the kind of person who says things and then later wishes she hadn't, aren't you?
Yes! How did you know that?
Well, as long as you're not the kind of person who does things and later wishes she hadn't, we can work together.
No, that's my partner's.
All right, we're going to wrap that up.
Yeah.
And I will, it's about 11:30 now.
Yeah.
So to recap, we have the job for, remind me of the body hopping friend's name.
The job in White Crown.
Yep.
To bring some person from White Crown out of White Crown.
Right. That job was to bring a body with no spirit for your friend, whose name I can't recall, to possess.
Well, no, that was for
No, he's talking about my job.
Oh, the job that Braid got earlier. Yeah.
Then we have the job that my friend gave us in Brightstone, getting a body without a spirit for him to possess.
Yeah.
We have the killing the deputy mayor of Duskval, which sounds like something we're not going to really be able to ignore.
Oh, we can ignore it. I have a plan.
I hope you do.
Does it
really
involve
hope you
blowing
do.
things up?
Oh my
Well,
god.
something will be blown up. Those darn wraiths and their conspiracy to kill the deputy sheriff.
Awesome.
Mayor. Deputy mayor. And then we have a job offer to take a spirit in a bottle out to the
Lightning fence
To the Deadlands.
to the
out
Deadlands.
to the Deadlands, out beyond the Lost District.
Yeah. So,
With
that's a nice recap for potential jobs. You guys have succeeded at this job
Yep.
in that you have gotten several job offers and new contacts.
Yes.
So well done there. We do not have to decide tonight which one to do. If
Okay.
you like, we can discuss that in the Discord between now and next week. But what we should do tonight is do all of our session wrap-up stuff.
So,
Okay.
do you mind if we start with just getting crew XP out of the way?
Yeah, can I see the crew sheet?
Oh
please?
yes, of course. Here you
Oh, or we should do.
go. Editor.
I'm all over the damn place. I mean, are we doing a post-score rundown, even though we didn't really do much in this score?
Um,
Want to just leave that?
yeah, I'm going to say let's leave that alone. In terms of status, I don't think your status with any factions have changed. Although your status with Sarah and her arms dealing crew is precarious.
Yes.
It hasn't actually changed yet. Whether you succeed at the job or turn down the job or fail at the job, that will all come into play. So, yeah, that doesn't really... Your reputation, I'll say your reputation has gone up a tick.
Okay.
Because you've met a lot of people. You've each made an impression in your own way.
All right. So we're doing crew XP.
Crew XP. Execute a successful smuggling or acquire new clients or contraband sources. You did both of those things. So
Yes, we did.
that's 2 XP.
Exactly.
Contend with challenges above your current station. Not yet.
Mhm.
So not that. Bolster.
I think someone has bolstered our crew's rep.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll give you.
Not only are we daring, we are explosively daring.
Yes.
Yes. So 1 point for that. Express the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the crew. Yeah, I think that has happened as well.
Yes.
So you guys are gaining another point for that, because pretty much this whole session was about your refusal to transport people.
And doing it anyway.
Yeah.
It's funny how that worked. How every job just happened to involve people.
Well, yeah, but I mean, honestly, the part of the reason you're getting the point is that was you guys' idea.
yes, I know.
So that was expressing the essential nature of the crew right there.
Excellent.
Cool.
Yep.
So yeah, you guys are doing well on the XP from tonight.
Okay.
Who wants to go first with personal XP?
Yeah, you guys are gonna need to read me the bullet points there for this one.
I can go first, I guess.
All right.
Every time you roll a desperate action, mark XP for that attribute. I only made one desperate roll
Okay.
for my consort.
Yeah. So
Just now?
that's one.
I addressed a challenge with violence or coercion.
Yeah, you did.
That happened once or twice.
Well, the once was obviously when you fired. No, twice, because you did the hammer and then the gun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's technically the same challenge, perhaps.
You can get EXP twice for the same type
Well,
of thing.
But yeah, you get 2 points if it happened more than once. I'm trying to decide if the hammer and the rifle count as 2 separate events, considering they were part of the same fight.
Does causing the riot count as violence?
Yeah. Okay, so you get 2 points regardless.
Okay. And then express your beliefs, heritage, or background.
Yeah.
Yes-ish. I mean, like, I started that project, but not really.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Well,
say
yeah.
I'm gonna say no to that one. You didn't do anything that any other big mean guy wouldn't do.
Yeah. Okay. I'm done. Or struggle with your issues from revised traumas and yada yada. But
Yeah, you did in the downtime a bit. Yeah, but I don't know if that plays into the score.
yeah.
All right, who would like to go next?
I'll go next.
Sure.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure I rolled literally 0 desperate actions. Because I don't know if I rolled at all today.
You did the engagement roll, the first one.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Did I address any challenges with tracking or violence?
Tracking or violence?
Yes.
Spoiler?
The cart.
Hmm.
I'm gonna say violence. No, obviously not.
No.
But tracking. No, not really.
Yeah, I mean, at most, I would try and pull it from, like trying to get someone else to keep an eye on those guys that were following us, but that's
a stretch. Yeah.
ridiculous. So did I express my beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
That's hard for me to say. Maybe at the party.
Yeah, I think the party is.
In fact, I would say that the entire act of bringing the crew to go to the party is something that expresses Severin's beliefs and worldview. So yeah, I would say yes to that.
Okay, cool.
In agreement.
And did I struggle with issues stemming from my vice or traumas during the session? I mean, obviously, I suffered knowing that even though my debt with Dunridge and Sons is paid off, that I will not be able to go back there to shop.
That is a struggle, and it played directly into a job offer, so I'll say yes to that.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, a little XP is better than none.
Yeah. Man, you gotta step up with some more action rolls next time.
I can't find things to shoot. It's not like, oh, there's a thing, I'm gonna murder hobo it.
Well, murder hoboing can start interesting storylines.
That cart that was like following us, if you guys didn't tell me not to, I was going to chuck an axe at the like wooden wheel to destroy it and then make it so it can't track us anymore.
I was just gonna say, you gotta shoot the wheels out.
Yeah.
I mean, this game is odd with the way it empowers me and in some areas and doesn't empower me in other traditional GM areas. But I would have made that shot very, very unlikely because you're pretty far from the wagon wheel.
Yeah, if I was running a different build on this character, it wouldn't be as much a thing. But I actually am really enjoying Severin. I just don't really get Severin yet entirely.
I think part of the problem is that your Severin's abilities don't run towards the types of missions we've been doing. You're literally piloting boats, and your skill is tracking.
Well, tracking, prowling, schmoozing. There's a reason I wanted to throw a party.
Yeah, there's a couple opportunities for you to prowl now.
Yeah.
Two of these 4 jobs have significant prowling opportunities attached.
Yeah. But Braid.
Yeah.
All right, is it me? All right, so I had no desperate rolls or no desperate action rolls. 2, I addressed a challenge with knowledge or arcane power.
Excuse me. Um,
I feel like maybe like when I studied the guy.
yeah.
But when
you
I
address a
approached
challenge?
Flint, I was using arcane power. I don't know if that
Yeah.
counts.
Yeah, you did. That's correct. You put
Okay.
on that mask.
Get
It's a
myself-
directly using arcane power. Yes.
Yeah. I expressed my beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. I think, again, like going to both with Quellen and with Flint, I was trying to trade on my my whisper.
Well, you were
But
trying.
no.
No, I would say not. Beliefs, heritage, and background. Those you were really focusing on your skills and talents.
Yes,
you
that's a
know?
good point.
Your beliefs and heritage and background would be more like who you are, not what you do.
Fair enough. Okay. And then struggling with issues from vice or trauma. Not at all.
No,
Nope.
I'm still thinking about the previous one though.
Beliefs, drives, heritage. The fact that I used my downtime.
Yeah,
just to
I was gonna
tinker.
say your drive definitely played in this. Exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
You foregoed any vice in order to work on projects. That's definitely a drive related
Multiple
thing,
projects.
so.
Yes. Okay. So 1.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
All right.
Excellent.
One last thing. Are we going to get to do technically downtime before the next session? Because I'm at one trauma point or one stress point out before I die for the mission. Because then.
Well, let's remember we will open with downtime next week.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Okay. Cool.
You guys
We went
have
over.
the opportunity to think about and respond to these job offers after your downtime. So.
Okie doke.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you to my players for playing. This is I'm really starting to enjoy this game. This is a good
Yes.
system. I really like it. I'm still learning it, but I like it a lot. I mean, I'm still learning 5th edition too. I'm 7 years into that, so that's just how that goes. Yeah, this is good. We'll be back with our 3rd and final installment of this next week. At least final for now. We'll never negate the possibility of revisiting one of these games in the future. But after next week, we will move on to something else, which we haven't determined what it is yet. This Friday, the regular Shadows of Arconia 5e campaign returns with episode 62. And I guess I won't say anything about that in case anyone is still binging and doesn't want spoilers. But yes, we should all be there, one hopes. Everyone's health and job life permitting. So yeah, we'll see you guys on Friday. Well, I'll see you on Friday, and everyone else, we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks for having
you. Bye bye.
Bye.